This is not financial nor professional advice. This video is for entertainment only. Hey everyone, today I want to describe what could be the beginning of somewhat of a turn in the market, or at least a somewhat different focus of the market that you could capitalize on and not take too much risk if you play it right. I don't think this strategy is for everybody. I plan to do it to a limited extent with probably small amounts of money to see how it goes, at least at first. But I think there's reasons to believe that technology isn't going to do so badly in the coming year, simply because with the flu being what it is, I think we're going to need technology as a solution. And so technology will do well, even though there may be some rate increases which were being promised. But I don't think it's going to be as much as the Fed is saying, simply because we're going to have somewhat of a shallow recession, which will keep the Fed from increasing rates very much. And what I'm seeing is, I think the small caps have gone down a lot. The mid caps have gone down somewhat too. What hasn't really gone down very much is the large capitalization NASDAQ stocks. And what I'm going to compare and contrast here is the Russell 2000, which is the best representative I can find of the type of stocks that I invest in when I invest in small cap stocks, and comparing that to the QQQ, which is an index of large capitalization NASDAQ funds. It has things like Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, basically the large FANG stocks, plus the other large capitalization NASDAQ stocks. So this is a risky strategy that I'm going to be describing. It's not for everyone, and I plan to do it with just small amounts of money to begin with, essentially until I can see how it might pan out. I think of the QQQ, or the Qs as it's lovingly called, as an index, but it's actually an ETF through Investco, INVESCO. So it's an ETF that I think of like as an index of the large NASDAQ FANG stocks. It includes others, of course, but it's the large cap NASDAQ stocks. So I'm going to show you a series of charts comparing the Russell 2000 small caps to the giant QQQ market capitalization NASDAQ companies, the FANGs. And I think you're going to notice a change in the trend somewhat, or at least the beginning of a change. In the charts I'm going to show you, the QQQs are in green and the Russell 2000 small caps are in red. The Russell 2000 over 6 months has gone down almost 3%, while the large capitalization NASDAQ QQQ stocks have gone up almost 13%. In the 3-month chart, the QQQs are not up as much, of course. They're holding on to about a 3.5% gain, while the Russells are staying at about a 3% loss. In the 1-month chart, both of them go negative. The small caps go very negative for 1 month and are down 8%, while the QQQs go down almost 4%. On the week that ends on Friday, December 17th, the QQQs, they actually lose almost 2%, while the Russell 2000 small caps come close to being even. They lose only 0.3% on those 5 days of that market week. But I think it's potentially important how that week of December 17th ended up on that Friday, December 17th. The QQQs went negative by 0.5%, and surprise, surprise, the Russell 2000 somehow managed to go ahead by 1%, showing some signs of a beginning reversal, just because they've been pounded into the sand so bad. Now, what a person has to decide, is this a relief rally that's going to continue going down? Or is this the sign of the market taking a turn? I think it's possibly a sign that the market's taking a turn. The only way I would be concerned that this wasn't a market turn in somehow for the positive for small caps is if the large caps start to deteriorate seriously. If the large caps start to deteriorate seriously, that means everything is going down, and you pretty much want to get out and stay on the sidelines, or at least that's what I'm planning to do. You do what you need to do. You know your situation. My situation is, if the big caps start to go down seriously, then I'm getting out. But I think this is possibly a turn in the market, where the realization is we're going to need technology, we're going to need the small caps, that the interest rates increases are not going to be that serious or that bad, and the small caps can do well. There's actually 3 companies that I think of as to how to play this if small stocks are going to do somewhat of a run here. I think first of Oxbridge Holdings, OXBR. It's a reinsurance company in the Cayman Islands. They provide excess insurance to insurance companies that are faced with disastrous property and casualty, which could result from a hurricane, which have been horrific in recent years. So there's a big demand for it in the Gulf area. They have a very low price to earnings ratio of around 4 or 5. And they have a very low cost operation, as it's selling to insurance companies. They have a very low number of employees. Their expenses are low. I think that their profits look good. I think it's a speculative play. I think it's a risky play. I don't think it's for everyone. It's something that might be good. The second one I think of is Digital Turbine. Its symbol is APPS, APPS. And what they do is they provide people with a way to select the applications they want to put on their new Android phone. That was originally how they got started. But then they borrowed $900 billion of money to increase their advertising. And so really they've kind of doubled their business. Now they just recently took out those loans for $900 million, almost $1 billion. So it takes a while for a stock to absorb this, of course. And so their stock dipped into the 50s, maybe even the 40s at one point. I think they're in the 50s now, but their value is easily in the 70s. And I think they showed some signs of life, of creeping forward. And I think that could also be a good play. I've made videos on both Oxbridge Holdings and on digital applications that you might want to take a look at. What I've said in those videos still is holding very true. And the third one is kind of a compromise. If you're torn between the FANGs and something more speculative, then my recommendation would be Facebook. Facebook is in the 330s, and it has a low price to earnings ratio for the high growth company that it is. And I think it really should be valued more in the 450s. So I think they are leading the charge into the metaverse in many ways. So I think they're redesigning and re-engineering themselves, if you will, which they needed to do because of the fall in price that they've had and the bad press they've been getting, somewhat unjustifiably, I think. Was affected by news events and stuff. And I think they're trying to refocus, as Facebook is a increasingly smaller part of their business because they have so many different parts of their business with Instagram and Oculus and so forth. So those are the stocks that I think of. Hopefully you will navigate this successfully. This is what I'm doing. It's not appropriate for everyone, and I'm taking a very limited approach as it is risky. So good luck in your investing. Thank you for watching this. Be sure to like this video if you found any of the information valuable, and subscribe so that you receive future videos. Thank you, and I will see you in the future.